And welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to another weekend edition of ESL Open Cup Americas number 236. I'm of course your host VIP, and this is not the correct score. This is one moment here. But I'm of course your host VIP, and with me I'm joined by the amazing players before us, by the people in the chat as well. Welcome to a weekly dose of American StarCraft. In a way American, it is of course an open tournament, open to all regions, to all shapes, all sizes, and because of the time slot, because of the Americas server, it can bring together players from all over the world, from Europa, from South Korea, from Southeast Asia, and from the Americas as well. Let's go. Let us go. We have our first series. !B in the chat if you guys want to have a look at the bracket yourselves. The bracket is looking quite stacked as well. We can take a moment to go over the brackets after our first series because we are already jumping into game number 1. Let's go. And spawning in the bottom right hand corner of GoldenR, we have our American Protoss player, the Red Protoss representing Clan MB Deep. It is Ninja. And spawning in the top right hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the blue Zerg player. It is Bulochkin. Bulochkin? Yeah. Bulochkin. We'll figure it out. We will figure it out. I believe from Belarus, if I'm not mistaken. I do believe. For now, we're going to be settling into our ZVP, settling into our first series of the day. Again, we'll go over the brackets momentarily after we do wrap up our first best of 3. And as a reminder, this ESL Weekly is a little bit different, for those that are curious. This ESL Weekly does not give EPT points because the EPT standings are already locked down. They're already locked in place. We've already had our groups announced, I believe, for EWC, for the Esports World Cup. And as a result, no more EPT points are being awarded for the season, but there's still plenty of money on the line. And as we saw in ESL Asia last night, we do see a lot of practice, well, a lot of players still competing nonetheless. Practices, oh my god, we're going for a cannon rush. Let's go. We are setting up for a cannon rush. The forge has been thrown down. It's going to be a gate forge opener. This is a macro cannon rush. Otherwise, we'd just seen a forge first. This is a way to deny the expansion and to expand back at home. The goal here is just to force a cancel, just to shut down this expansion and force it to be expanded elsewhere. And then we can just get into and settle into our own setup back at home for the Protoss. That is going to be the plan. As we do have our cannons being set up, boys are being pulled, but these boys are feeling a little bit late, and there's not that much surface area on the cannon. Oh, wait, no, my apologies. So that was second pylon nonetheless, but yeah, the cannons are on the way. The cannons are safely behind the mineral line. The hatchery finishes, unfortunately, and as a result, saving the space is going to be that much harder. There are 2 pylons powering everything. There's 2 cannons on the way. We have queens and lings in production. Typically in this kind of scenario, with this kind of late scout, we would cancel the hatchery and just expand elsewhere. We'll just expand elsewhere and play out from there. Because the cannons are finished, I don't think we can save the hatchery. So it's going to be a rough loss here for Bulochkin. When it comes to the follow-up, Roach Warren. Going for a Roach Warren, we're going for a 1-base all-in response. This is going to be good outside of the fact, of course, that we're losing the base. The other scary thing about committing to this 1-base all-in is that Ninja is not all-in. Like, Ninja is expanding, we're setting up, we should be getting cannon shield batteries back at home. Stargate follow-up is going to be for the Void Ray as well. Once the first Void Ray does pop, that's going to shut down any kind of aggressive plays here of the Zerg. So we're on a timer. We are on a timer. That's going to be a kill on the hatchery. Back in the main base, roaches are amassing. I mean, I appreciate the roaches that are coming out, but again, they got to zoom across the map real quick, and we'll see. We'll see if they can. We'll see if we can find some damage here. In a way, we can use these roaches alternatively to shut down this cannon rush and to expand and to re-expand, but it's going to be such a late expansion here. We're going to be so far behind the economy that we got Ravagers are morphing in. Ravagers are being morphed in. Adept does shade behind the mineral line. Oh, getting a drone. 2 drones going to be going down. Already a brutal amount of damage. We're going to get a 3rd drone as well. Ninja gets a 3rd worker, gets a 4th worker as well, and we do cripple the economy here of our Zerg player. Ninja back at home, happily mining. Oracle first, not Void Ray. Bold move, but we have the Oracle on the way. Ravagers will deal with the cannons. I mean, nice filing overall. Does catch both cannons at the same time and will clean this up eventually. But it's not about cleaning this up. It's not about shutting down the cannon rush. It's about what comes next, right? It's about the longer macro game, the macro outlook here to game one. And we are making more roaches. Okay, we're pushing. We're going for our push, going for our all-in. First Oracle has arrived, and we do come across the Ravagers, and we can focus them down. For now, we're just going to chase them. Keep eyes on them. Second Oracle's on the way. Yeah, there we go. There's a pulsar beam. We focus on the first Ravager. One Ravager falls. There's 2 Ravagers left. And now we're down to 1, and soon to be down to none here. As, yeah, we can just focus everything down. And behind this, Ninja, happily on a 2-base economy here, can work towards a 3rd Oracle as well. Didn't even need the Void Rays. It is riskier going for these Oracles just because they're NG-based units, and they can run out of energy, of course, which can be a little bit terrifying. We are moving out across the map. We can even reinforce across the map as well if we really wanted to with these pylons. Spores are finishing up. We have 2 queens in the main base. We should be okay against Oracles in the main at least. But really, Ninja just has map control. Now we expand, we take a 3rd base. That's all we need to do. Just take a 3rd base from here. Get into our follow-up. It's going to be +1 and the Twilight Council. Looking to head into Blink Stalkers. Bulochkin is going to be headed into a lair here. Oh, Bulochkin. I'll get it. I'll get it eventually. Is going for a lair on 2 bases, and this may be for a Nidus-based all-in. That would make sense in my mind. We do not have link speed though. No link speed, so I'm not actually entirely certain as to what's going to be done with the lair, but Queen goes down. We focus on the drones, and these Oracles are just going ham. Spawn on the best position either, and we can even just go straight for the Queens. Going for the drones instead. We're going to pick up almost every single worker. Oh my god, down to 7 drones. 3 left in the main base, a handful left elsewhere. And yeah, things are looking dire here for our Zerg player. As more Oracles get sent across. Again, here's that follow-up that we spoke about, +1 and Blink on the horizon. Oracle's just going to focus on as many more workers as we can. And we'll eventually be shut down, but with that, I mean, we have a lair, but we can't really do anything with it. Not in this kind of game state here. And yeah, from here, we can try to hope that maybe Ninja leaves us alone in just for as long as it takes for us to just regather and stabilize our economy. But outside of that, I don't see Ninja being too passive. I mean, that's a lot of gateways, Pappy. that is a lot of gateways on the way here for our Protoss player, and with our gateway explosion kicking in, then we can commit to a push. Can commit. There's no reason to hold back once we get our gateways going. The downside is that we don't have a way to reinforce across the map. There's no proxy gateway, there's no robo, there's no warp prism, but we probably don't need it at this point. Looking at the armies, we have 4 roaches to defend and 2 queens. We have transfuse potential, true, we do have transfuse, but even so, like, our army is barely standing and Ninja is waddling across the map. We're going to come in for the kill. Blink not quite done, but we have +1. Zephyr nice control, pulling away some of the weakened Stalkers. Yeah, it does shuffle them back. And with that, is going to be able to break through the first offensive line. GG gets called, and Ninja will take game number 1. Whew. GG. GG, well played. Ninja does take a lead here in the series. What I will say is that I'm not too opposed to the response by Bulochkin. But when it comes to his response, like, it felt like a response to a regular cannon rush. Winding it back a little bit, this was not like a forge first, this was a gate forge. What I'm referring to is that the goal of this cannon rush was only to deny the expansion, was only to in a pro game just force a cancel and just macro from there. Because of that, letting the hatchery finish, responding with the roach one and the 1 base all in is not actually the most ideal response. Typically you do want to have a more macro approach, just because back at home the opponent's going to be ready for an all-in. So yeah, there's that kind of back and forth that comes into play, and it's a bit of a different dichotomy that they do have with this kind of opener, with this kind of build. But with that, we're getting into game number 2. We're headed into that second game, and we'll see how we approach this. We'll see if a Ninja once again does embrace the forge, or if we head for a different kind of opener. I'm ready. I'm excited. Let's go. When it comes to the level of our players, Ninja, of course, is a GM in the Americas region. I'm a little bit unfamiliar with Bulochkin. I do think they're a little bit lower ranked here, is coming in as more of an underdog, but, you know, that's how some of these earlier rounds do go, and I'm more than happy to embrace some of these other lower tier players. I mean, we're not unfamiliar with that. We do cast plenty of diamond tournaments ourselves, even just only masters tournaments as well. More than happy to. More than happy to. Let's go. And we can get into the bracket later on too, so we can see kind of the purpose here and the reasoning behind this series and where it does take us. But for the time being, spawning in the bottom left hand corner of Crimson Courts, we have our red Zerg player from the land of Belarus. He's down in the series. Can he bounce back? It is Bulochkin. Bulochkin. Ah. And then there's our right hand corner. We have the American Protoss, the blue Protoss. It is Ninja. Shouting in the chat. Este Simon John. He came first today, Bob. He came first. Shaking my head. As for now, we do have another gateway on the low ground here. Looks like a gate expand set up, not a gate forge, not this time at least. Thankfully, as the probe is moving out across the map for a scout, we do have our Zerg player going for a hatch first. Going to be going for a hatch gas pool. Standard opener here from our Zerg player. He's not tempted to go for a pool first or anything crazy like that, and Ninja will confirm. Protoss player does come in, does confirm. Oh, actually going to be a hatchery pool opener into a bit of a delayed gas. So slightly different variation here, slightly safer as well. Does mean that the queens and lings are a little bit faster. Does mean that ling's speed is a little bit later, but only by a couple of seconds. Only by a couple of seconds. Across the map, we do have our Nexus on the way. No forge this time, so going to be a much more standard game. And our Zerg player can get into, you know, their own opener. We can settle in, Pat. We can settle in. I see Boom in the I might seal this. You're an animal, puppy. You're an animal. Oh, no! Oh, as the probe is going to get a little bit trapped here. Going to have to middle walk away, and does do so. Este Ninja. Ay, ay, ay. Does slip away. But yeah, when it comes to the previous game, for those that are curious in that kind of setup, and the Zerg response is usually to just cancel the expansion and just take another base. Just take another base, take the unnatural natural instead. It does put the Zerg player a little bit behind because their base is later than usual, but at the same time, so was the Nexus of the Protoss because of the forge and the cannons and the pylons. So there's that kind of give and take. Is that give and take? So we do have our Zerg player getting into their initial lings. Ling speed is on the way. We are staying in gas, bear that in mind. So with that extra gas income, we can head into a faster lair or faster upgrades. We'll keep an eye on where our gas is spent as we are flooding lings across the map. What I will say is that we do have the money, we do have the resources for our bathing nest. Bear that in mind, as that is only 50 gas, but no bathing nest inside, but we are still just flooding nothing but lings. Oh boy. Here we go, lings. They do get across the map. The wall's on the wall. The wall is wide open. The adept does get surrounded. We do barely slip away. Boys are going to be pulled, and we do save the adept. But probes are still going down as we still flood lings across the map. For the time being, we have 16 more lings in production. Oh, but there's an adept across the map. And drones are going down. We barely have an economy to begin with, as our Zerg player is completely all in. And we are all in. The wall's still wide open. No warp gate. Lings do make their way in. And we do still have workers here to pull. Second adept is on the way. More lings flooding across the map. And can we pull this off, as we have to get in there? We have to get into natural. But so far, the worker control has been solid. Ling speed finally kicks in. Trying to go for the pylons. Second adept has arrived. Probes are going down, but we need more than just workers. We need more than just economic damage. As we clean up the lings, Oracle has arrived. We shut the army down, and the wall is solid. We throw down the pylon. We're fully walled off. Adepts warp in, and Ninja holds. That was a scary moment. That was a very intense moment here. But I mentioned before that if we're mining this gas anyway, and if we're going for an all-in, we definitely could have afforded something like a Bane Nest, which means we could have held back a little bit longer, then gone for a Bane Bust and flooded on in. This could have been done in a slightly different way. And now in our current game state, Massling, it's not going to cut it. It's not going to be enough. We do get a nice surround here on the Cybercore, but that's 2 more pylons being thrown down. There's a secondary wall behind this. Ninja is ready. The Cybercore may go down, but again, we won't be able to bust on through as the Cybercore survives. The Cybercore does live. Ninja looking solid behind this. Second pylon does finish just to make sure everything stays powered. Second Cybercore on the way, just in case the first one goes down. And now Ninja's moving out with his double Oracle. Now we see the Bailey Nest, but as you mentioned, this Bailey Nest, it's late. It's a little bit too late at this point. We could have thrown it down earlier, and we could have gone for a straight up Bane bust initially, which again, I do think would have hit a little bit harder. But alas, that timing has come and gone. Oracles, they come in, they wreak havoc, and they get a full scout as well. Ninja, he sees the Bailey Nest, fully aware what's going on. Cripples the economy, and back at home, we should be seeing shield batteries and another wall off. I mean, there are no Baileys yet. As we do dive on the Cybercore, Cybercore is going to go down. But we have a backup Cybercore. You know, that doesn't matter at this point. We can reinforce with more Adepts. Should be okay behind this. Interesting charge going to be on the way. It's going to be charge or Archon, not +1 Blink Stalker, so a very different response and different kind of mid-game that Ninja's working towards. But may not even need that kind of army composition, as the Adepts themselves can hold their own. As Adepts do move out, the Overlord does confirm the move outs, which means Lings could try to slip in. Ooh, but this time we do react in time. Warp gate is done, we do warp in, and the wall is solid. Once again, the wall is looking solid. Ninja getting across the map. Shading towards the main. Does shade into the main base. Getting 2 more drone kills, but down to 6 workers. No, down to 5, down to 4. Down to 3, and we barely retain our 3 drones. And again, we're not even working towards our next step. Despite having charge in the Temple Archives, we're still warping in Adepts. We're still... we're just warping in nothing but Adepts. Because why not? Down to 1 worker remaining. And here they come. The vanilla Adepts, not even Glaives. But alas, there's just nothing to deal with this. Sure, there are some queens. True, there are 3 queens, but... And they do have transfuse. But even 3 queens cannot handle this amount of Adepts. It's going to be 9 Adepts in total. Archons finally morphing in back at home. But we don't even need them. Don't even need them at this point. Lings gets some decent surrounds here, and we do shut down the initial Lings. We can dive on the queens. Transfuse is available. So we're going to try to barely hold on here with what little we have left. We're holding the line, Papi, but GG gets called, and Ninja will take the series 2-0, advancing on to the next round. GG. GG, well played, congratulations. Ninja will take the series. Again, he's coming in as the favored player. He is a GM in the Americas region, and our opponent was more of an amateur player, so much love here to our Zerg player, to Bulochkin. Much loved for participating, for being a part of this, for, despite, you know, being a bit of a lower ranked player, going up against these big GMs, not an easy thing to do, so much love there. And Ninja will advance on. GG, well played. And now we can take a moment here to have a look at the bracket and figure out where we are and where we are headed.